we mostly went on a nice little walk.
Yeah.
But besides that, anything anybody wants to bring top of mind?
We finished with the dungeon. We filled in both the evil wells with a whole bunch of sands to be dealt with later, but at least nobody's gonna fall in them and like be turned into a sin spawn or like trapped for 100 years or become an evil zombie that's like plagued with disease
Or turn into a talking dog.
or turn into a talking dog, which is part of the trapped for 300 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hellebore turned out okay.
Yeah, but I don't think that would be Hellebore's first choice either.
Mm-hmm.
Then we informed Baylor and the city guard of everything. And everybody went their separate ways for a hot second to like go like double check on their places of living/work and gather things, and then we're coming back to the Rusty Dragon to number one, ensure that Shay actually gets a room there and settles in.
I was just about to mention solo bullying everyone.
You guys were being an asshole to the poor overworked Baylor. He's gonna turn gray just by listening to y'all.
If he hasn't turned
He's already
gray by
partially
now,
gray.
See?
Like, dude,
It's
Leave
distinguished.
it's
the man
gentlemanly.
leave the man alone. He's got enough to deal with right now.
He's the sheriff. This is in the job description. Also, side note, before we get started, can I just say, first session of the year.
First session of the
Oh, yeah.
second
First session of the year.
of
First session of the
2024.
year.
First session of the year. Who's going to get the first role? Is the real question.
That is the question, and what that role pretends for all of us.
Mhm.
You can
I'm
just
sorry, I
make
did
it
it.
No,
a perception.
Piper, that doesn't
That's
count. It
fine.
has to be. It has to be a roll with stakes.
I
Has
roll
to be a
perception. What do I
DM.
see?
I vote it's not Joe that gets the first
See, Z's saying that because Z is the resident, like.
Pick
What-
on
what-
Joe.
Well, Pick on Joe was not
Okay.
divination girly. There we go. That's
Well-
what I was going for.
Let me
But
put
also
it this
pick on
way.
Joe.
Yes, I do pick on Joe, but I have not picked on you very much in the past like month and a half, 2 months. You've had a break.
Catch up in the new year.
Was this Lent?
All of the stock is
Lent.
refreshed at the start of the year, so she can burn through as much as she wants.
Oh,
Okay, but any clowning you do now, you won't have for later.
See,
thou shalt not clown.
everybody else was doing the clowning on Joe for me for the past little bit.
You delegate the work.
Yep.
All right. So, who all is headed to the Rusty Dragon?
I believe I am currently in it.
remember.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Ismark was going. Wait, was there a reason we were meeting there, or is that like a thing, or was this?
To talk about what to do next, essentially.
Gotcha.
Group meeting. Group meeting tonight.
Yep. So Ismark was stopping by to say hello to the wife.
Mhm.
I believe everybody else is either in or near the Rusty Dragon.
Well,
Sola went home first, I think.
Yeah, you narrated all of us going to our own separate places of living first, and then heading to the
Mhm.
Rusty Dragon. So
Mm.
Well, I suppose I did. Shout out to Paskira.
Thinking ahead.
Thinking ahead, setting us up. So, as was previously narrated, the party approaches the Rusty Dragon, those of you who are arriving now. And you see on the door, there is a sign, it's a handwritten sign. It politely, if bluntly, informs the rest of the town that Rusty Dragon's not open for business today. Which doesn't seem to be harming business any, as, again, there is a curfew about. There are very few people walking around Sandpoint, much, much fewer than you would expect given this time of night. Sandpoint is a town with good solid half a dozen taverns, despite its size. So there's usually always something afoot, but not tonight. Silence and a dour energy have crept over the town like a fog. And when you open the door and all start filing in, there's a voice from behind the counter. The lights are off, of course, in the Rusty Dragon, because the person who's behind the counter doesn't really need them. You hear a voice, and then you see a head bob up very quickly. Welcome to the Rusty Dragon. Please Oh, it's all of you. Well, welcome. I'll be making dinner tonight. It's good to see you've made it back in one piece. It's Shalelu.
At the Rusty Dragon?
Yes.
She's the one that
Wait.
took a Mako back to the Rusty Dragon from.
Yes.
Okay. Who's arriving first? Who's first on the scene?
Kokoro's already upstairs.
I imagine
Yep.
it would
Who's
be
second on the scene?
Sola then, because she's closest to the Rusty Dragon. And she's just like stopping by, making sure that like the shop's okay, checking with like the guard, and like I guess giving Hellboard like the quick tour, and then heading back to the Rusty Dragon.
The MTV Cribs tour.
Like, hey, here's the like 3 rooms that exist in my building.
And this is where the magic happens.
So let's just like blinks at Shalelu, shakes her head very slightly. Well, we thank you for your assistance. Where is Mako?
She's upstairs. A bit shaken still, as you might imagine, but she's with her sister, so hopefully things will even out at some point soon. I am worried about her.
Sola nods slightly. Well, I will go check on her just to make sure everything is still in place. And then pause, look at Hellebore. Because I'm assuming Hellebore is with Sola.
Yeah.
And look at Shalelu, and then back at Hellebore. Shalelu, this is Hellebore. Hellebore, this is Shalelu. And she's gonna start her way up the stairs.
No explanation.
Yes.
Shalelu looks at Hellebore, and it's a very long look, very still too, almost preternaturally still, as if she were, in a blind, waiting for an animal to move. Perhaps she is.
Oh god.
And then she just goes, "You're a dog."
I am?
Dog? Where?
Did you not notice? Did nobody tell you? Was he transformed into a dog? Shalelu looks around to the rest of the party.
Ismark will hold up a hand like he's being called on and be like, hey, that's a joke, Shalelu.
A joke?
Yeah, like, it's a bit.
She looks back at Hellebore. But he is a dog.
Ismark holds up a hand and then just puts his hand back down. Like, holds up a finger and puts his finger back down. And he, like, as subtly as he can, will cast a glance over to Sheadress and then look at Shalelu, and just quietly thinking to himself, like, I see where she gets it. Affectionately.
Oh shit, is Shay there?
Yeah, everybody's here.
Everyone's
Oh,
okay.
the gang's
Except for
on key?
Mesmine, who went to go to sleep.
Does.
Yeah, Mesmine got taken by the Mimis, so she
Mhm.
is asleep at the Smiths.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry, I was refilling a water bottle, so I missed what just happened. I'm very sorry. I thought we were gonna file in one by one.
Shalelu is somewhat perplexed by the existence of Hellebore and asked if he was a dog, to which he happily replied, well, with some shock, I am, question mark. Shalelu did not understand that this was a joke, and Ismark pointed that out to her. But then she was like, but if it's a joke, why is he still a dog? And that's where we're at. Ismark is looking from Shalelu to Sheadrez like, I see where she gets it from.
Affectionate.
Man, I imagine that Shay is just trying to hide a fucking snicker at this. It's very unsuccessful. But she uses a hand. She tries her best, though.
Shalelu looks over the gathered party and then just stops again on Hellebore, who seems to perplex her somewhat.
Elworks looks very happily back at her.
Do you eat human food or dog food?
It's a good question.
Would you prefer a menu?
I hadn't thought about it. Do I eat?
Mark pinches his brow and he just like will walk over to Hellebore, and he's not subtle about it because he can't be subtle about the gesture because he has to crouch, but he will like whisper to Hellebore, just like, come on, man, go easy on her. She's struggling here, but she's nice enough once you get to know her, once you get past all the, weeds.
No, I'm serious. They only fed me scraps.
Yeah, is there like, hamburger meat or something? You could eat hamburger meat. You're a dog. Dogs can eat hamburger. We got hamburger? Is that a thing they have here?
Is Ismark asking Shalelu?
He's asking Shalelu, but also just vaguely the room. Anyone who knows and will be willing to go back in the kitchen.
Ow! Shay gets up. She's like, she volunteers herself to go into the kitchen.
As you start walking into the kitchen, Shalelu looks at you and goes, Shadris, you aren't going to get what I think you're going to get, are you? Because the supply's running very low.
Me? No, never. Bye. Close the kitchen door.
Blink from Shalelu. I get the feeling that she wasn't being entirely truthful.
Yeah, I get that feeling a lot. Come on. And he's gonna do like the classic pat on the shoulder and head up after Sola.
All right. So, crew that is going. Where is Hellebore going?
Hellebore goes where Sola goes.
Okay, so Hellebore's going up as well. Roll me. Are you actually looking for food for Hellebore, or are you looking for the item?
Both.
Shadress. Okay. Make me. What?
You what me, motherfucker? The item?
I think you mean the item.
The item. It has a TM in the subtitles.
And a trademark. Careful what you say.
Make me a perception check as you're raiding the pantry.
Oh fuck, I forgot to get my dice out.
Oh,
First
God,
roll of
oh,
2023.
Oh, Jesus.
2024.
First fucking roll.
Shadra's trying to find some food.
Yeah. And
What have you got for us,
no.
Shay?
Oh no. Oh no.
Did you roll a 1?
No. I dropped a dice bag onto my keyboard and it hit F5
Oh no.
across a couple of tabs. So give me a second. Technical difficulties here. Don't mind me as I stuff all of this dice into
This
a bag.
is all
Shit.
in service of building up tension before the roll.
I know, we're all really looking for it here.
I'm just gonna. Well. Sorry, I have to transfer all of the dice from my box into a bag. I'm gonna use the dice that you got for this roll. For the first roll.
There we go.
Yee. Alright. Ah, fuck. Okay, so where is my character sheet? Because that'd be nice if it would load. I have to restart. Oh man. I'm so sorry.
Man, the first roll of the year really is cursed.
I know, right?
I hit F5 and it won't reload. Don't worry, I'm restarting. I've killed the tab. I'm restarting it.
F5's in chat.
F5's in chat. Okay, I got my sheet up. Now it's a perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. That's gonna be a 28.
28. All right. We're off to a strong start, everybody. Our first roll is a 28. I'm so glad it wasn't a 1.
That'd be sad.
Their applause. It's got to be a better clapping noise.
So, Shadra's,
Hmm.
as you're raiding the kitchen, Amiko has been at this for quite some time. She is smart enough to keep everything very clearly labeled in separate containers, which makes things easy to run the tavern, but also makes it very hard to conceal anything. So you find with very quick order the item that you are searching for. But on top of that, you realize, wait a second, now that I've gotten this jar, there's other stuff I have to get. What can a dog eat here? Now, the answer is meat. There's an awful lot of meat. You see about 3 different bins that are just rabbit marinating in different kinds of sauces.
Mhm.
Different marinades. And one of those is just plain rabbit for grilling. You see strips of beef also sitting in a marinade, a nice ginger marinade, as a matter of fact. You see some pork, a couple of legs of lamb, really primo stuff there. She must charge quite a fortune for it. And as you're searching, Shayadras, you spot something else. Something that seems to have been hidden from you specifically, because they put it right next to all of the fermented vegetables that they occasionally use as accompaniments for these dishes. A stench that overwhelms your senses, or threatens to, except on this special occasion, when you can just pick right through them, and you find the special jar.
That bitch tried to hide this.
Hidden between these pickled items, and in a mostly scent-proof container lined with charcoal.
She tried. Fucking tried.
What kind of addiction does Shay have? She has not told us.
To be hidden in pickled random shit and charcoal.
Lined and surrounded by a detritus, but no match. Big sniffums go burr, but Shay just feels very, very accomplished as she locates this jar. She has 2 items now, and she is going to grab the plain rabbit, because a lot of marinades have shit that's toxic for dogs. So she's not even going to try.
It's
And
very
yeah.
clever.
Because, garlic, very dangerous. So are a lot of citruses.
Onion, very dangerous.
I did not know.
Mm-hmm.
You would
Yeah.
never make it as a dog.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. And you want to make sure this is cooked and not just raw, because that can also have parasites and shit. That are usually safe for humans once they're cooked, but, must be cooked for maximum safety. So that's what she picks out for Hellebore. But she takes her 2 items, and she probably puts the Hellebore food in a separate plate, and she probably labels it to make sure it's not used for something. Just section it off for when we're cooking later. Here it is. This is what you feed him. Don't give him anything else.
Writes dog on the bowl.
Yeah. But she will join the group
Just because I'm a dog.
with her items in tow, stashed away.
The items.
Yes, thank you, Matt. Shay, you scramble up the stairs and you're able to rejoin with the party. We'll say a couple minutes after the conversation has begun, as you were searching and labeling. The rest of you head upstairs. Ameko's room is very easy to find for any of the locals, because it's decorated with very intricate little patches of glasswork that she actually did herself. There's not too many of her work out on display in town. It's mostly her brother's or her father's, but the door here, she actually did herself. And within, you can hear 2 voices, and anyone can, as they approach, realize that one of them is Kokoro's, and the other one is Ameko's. And they seem to be having a conversation of some sort.
So it's just gonna very lightly knock. Wait for a response.
Do you want to see anybody, sis?
There's a moment's pause from Ameko as she considers the matter. I guess it depends on who somebody is, she says. She turns toward the door. Hey, who is it out there?
Yeah, I can turn away if you would like. But I would think you would want a doctor to actually look at what your bandages are like right now.
She's got a point.
Behind the safety of the closed door, where Sola cannot see her and yet can somehow still sense that this is happening, Ameko pulls a face. It is a very familiar face to Sola. I thought we were done face. Just this grimace. She pinches her nose and goes, right. Yeah, we should do that, shouldn't we? The wounds. Right. And she gets up and she opens the door. And as she opens the door, she spots not just Sola, but also Ismark, who is followed right along after. And she's a little surprised to see Ismark, but she knows Ismark, and she had seen him together with Sola before, so it's not too surprising. However, a moment later, her eyes land on Hellebore, and she just blinks and looks up at Sola and goes, hey, I think I'm seeing things.
So it just kind of pauses for a second, and then follows her line of sight. Sees Hellebore. It kind of sighs, and I imagine a Holly is at the back of the pack, and there's John on her shoulder, and she shakes her head. I have a knack for acquiring animals. Meet Hellebore. Hellebore, this is
Hello.
Ameko. Ameko, go sit down. You do not need to be on your feet.
Hellebore says hello, and there's just a clear surprise on Amika's face. Her brows rise. And she just shakes her head once. Man, there's talking dogs out there. Today is a hell of a day, isn't it? She walks over and she takes a seat.
Sola
Well,
just kinda,
technically, I'm a talking fox.
and Sola just kind of like ushering behind her, like arm kind of like held out behind her back in case she like sways or anything, and just like tilts her head slightly. And I would not think you would be so surprised, considering John has quite a vocabulary on him. I am not sure where you picked up all those words.
I do a lot of reading.
Ollie does
Ismark
reading.
will. Ismark like awkwardly coughs, not quite clearing his throat, but he'll just be like, "It's a he's a hell of a dog, like hellebore. Get it?"
Deep
John
sigh.
just turns to look at Ismark, and it's a flat look from this flat bird eyes that are just a hard black. He doesn't say anything, but he looks at you.
Dude, it's like his name's Hellebore.
Oh, I know. I can spell.
Oh, just making sure. Anyway.
John flits over to land on Hellebor's shoulder and shakes his little bird head and goes, Helly, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that they would do that to you.
It keeps happening. This is the second time today.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
It probably happens to you all the time.
Nah, because nobody's got no jokes for John.
My friend, you're very lucky.
Don't worry, you're joining the club. He like pats a wing against like your side, Helleport.
Sola
Ameko-
just shaking her head the entire time.
Ameko leans over toward Kokoro and like looks between Kokoro and the animals talking. Looks between Kokoro and the animals talking. Are they like you?
I do not think he's a Sukumakame, no.
He's just a talking dog?
Yeah?
Right. Abeko turns back to the party. Okay. Well, thank you all for helping me out earlier. It's been a long night, and it's not over yet, but I don't know where I would have been without all of your help.
Sola.
Why? Go on. Sorry.
Sola just gonna sit on like the side of the bed and kind of like start looking over Ameko, like double checking that what quick bandages she could do were not overly disturbed, and that whatever Shalelu did to help Ameko when they got back was properly done. She trusts Shalelu, but Shalelu is not a medic or a doctor. And I imagine Holly has gotten onto the bed somehow and is like partially like laying on Ameko's lap to keep Ameko from getting up again.
I imagine that Holly walked over to Hellebore and just looked significantly, and there was an understanding between them.
All the animals are in perfect understanding right now.
Holly wants puppies.
Go ahead and make me a heal check.
It's good. Let's see if I roll good. That's a 22.
All right. with the 22 as you're looking Ameko over, you do notice that some of her bandages have been jostled this way and that, and while Shalelu did carry her the whole way so as to prevent any further injury to her feet, which, as you might recall, had some rather unfortunate run-ins with glass, carrying her in this way did put a little bit more strain on Ameko's ribs than would have otherwise been advisable. So she's a little tender, but she's mostly going to be fine. You're easily able to rewrap the bandages and adjust things here and there using, I'm assuming, the more complete supplies you probably brought from your shop.
Oh yeah, like full on she knows Ameko's injuries for the most part, so she has everything that she knows she's going to need, plus like probably just like pulls out like a little mini mortar and pestle and like starts making some soothing ointments.
You can stitch up the stitches that are starting to wander a little bit and loosen, apply some healing poultices. She's going to be all right. Physically, at least. She might have to be off her feet, at least, for a day or two, though. They're very tender. But as you are tending to Ameko is when Sheadres pops upstairs.
Yeah, well, Shay, is the door like open? Or is it closed?
Did you guys leave the door open? Or did you close it?
I assume that we just kind of walked in and let the door kind of hang ajar.
Yeah, not like fully open, but like cracked open.
Well, Shay will just slowly push it open, peek your head in, and like Mako's like on the bed with Kokoro next to her, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sola's doing the Sola thing, and I imagine Ismark's vibing with the animals, or like, I guess he is. Okay.
I guess so.
I guess so.
Wait, sorry. What did you say Ismark?
Yeah, I was
Yes.
asking if Ismark was. I was trying to like get the scene in my head of where everyone's placed at.
Sorry, for some reason I heard Sola vibing with the animals, and I was like, Sola's always with the animals. Sola is the animal person. I was gonna say animal mom, but Ismark's. But yeah, he just kind of. I imagine he was just kind of milling about, but like somewhere on the side.
Okay. So Shay walks in and she's got there's like 2 jars just like tucked under one arm as she props the door open and then like walks in. And I guess like she looks around, taking notice of the room. Her eyes land on Ameko. And let me just roll self-control for Shay. Yeah, that's not gonna do a shit. So she kind of just walks in and like blurts out, Mako, you look like shit.
Audible clap of the hand of Ismark's hand over his own face.
Just like little like lips go a little thin, and you get like one single nod from Sola of like, yep, that's what I expect.
Sola, you happen to be rewrapping the bandages around Ameko's ribs as Sheadres says this, which is very unfortunate for you because Ameko starts laughing immediately and just pinches her nose again. Yeah, I guess I do. I feel like shit too. I mean, maybe not shit. I am happy my sister's okay and you guys are fine, but
Still looks rough. She like walks closer. It's like, Found it. By the way, can't hide it.
And Mako looks up, and are you just brandishing these in front of her brazenly?
She's got the common tier item that she brandishes in front. The regular version she's got. And she pulls out a jar of peanuts. And she puts it on the nightstand. And it's the normal one, you know?
Regular salted bar peanuts.
Yeah.
It's a fairly large jar, though. It's like the size of your head.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is this like an old jar that gets refilled?
This is an old jar that gets refilled. This jar has been the same jar.
Decorated the jar.
Yeah. Yes. What decorations did Shay put on the peanut jar?
I put sharks on the jar.
How did she put sharks on the jar?
You know, you draw them on like paper, and then you glue them to the jar.
Okay.
Just that's not good in the fucking slightest. By the way, these
Did
are
you cut them out?
yeah. Paper sharks, put them on the jar, glued them. They're very old and faded, and they're not very good. They're very obviously kid drawings that she like. It's a really big jar that she just fucking places on the table. She looks proud of herself.
Now, Kokoro,
Yes.
you've been around Mako long enough to know that this jar of peanuts, you've rarely seen it this full. When it's this full, it means that Shadris has not been by in about a month. Because whenever Shadris stops by, the peanuts are gone within an hour.
Oh, found them already, have you?
Yeah. Guess what else I found? She pulls out the other jar.
This jar is much, much smaller and is made of very fancy ceramic, and as mentioned before, was sealed in a bigger jar that had charcoal in it to try and throw Shadris off the scent. These peanuts are flecked with chili and with lime powder.
She'll pull out the jar out of the smaller jar, or so out of the bigger jar. Showcase them. She holds them up. She looks like the cat who caught the fucking canary.
Kokoro, these are Ameko's private peanuts, her imported peanuts, seasoned in a very familiar back home fashion, but of which she is very protective. And you know this because she went to such great lengths to hide these peanuts and to replace them whenever they went missing. She does not keep these in her room explicitly because she knows Shadris will occasionally come up here trying to find them.
And Shay, brandishing this jar, slowly opens it and then hands Ameko the jar.
Okay. You escaped this time.
A kaleidoscope of emotions passes over Mako's face as she sees the first jar of peanuts and feigns surprise, a sort of, oh, you got me situation. But the second jar comes out. And she sits up straighter. Is everything goes tense as she looks at this jar. And then it's opened and Shay just offers them to her. And her face goes pretty soft. And she sniffles. And I don't know if you've ever tried to share these with me before. Thanks, Shay.
Well, you look like shit, so. Hands him over.
Abeko turns to Kokoro. Do I need to look like shit more often?
No.
No, please do not look like shit more often.
But fucking Shay's gonna fucking take a step or two back. She's gonna take the big jar, her jar. It's not the bar's jar, it's her jar. And she's gonna fucking hold it up in one hand, and she's gonna take a step back. to let Solo work as she starts munching on peanuts.
Yeah, better take a fucking step back, because Solo was about to, like, knock both y'all's heads over. Fucking stirring shit up when she's trying to work.
Also, you finish your workup not too long after this, and Amiko looks around at the gathered party as you finish tucking in the last bit of gauze. And she smiles to herself, but it's a kind of tired, stressed smile. So, did you guys just come here to say hi, or?
Well, I needed to check on my patient, no?
Yeah, that part makes sense, and the peanuts make sense, and the animals make sense because you make sense. But I know I run a bar and everything, but the gathering space is downstairs. My room's kind of small.
Is it a hint that you want everybody out?
Abeko smiles. It's been a really long day.
And so we'll nod a little bit and stand up. And just, like, turn very promptly towards Shay and Easemark and Hellebore and, like, gesture towards the door.
Don't gotta tell her twice. As soon as Shola's like, is that a hint to? And Shay's already walking. She's taking the jar with her, though.
And she'll look back towards Amiko. I will get some tea food for you and send up to you.
Oh, thank you.
It was
Is
easier tonight.
wait a second. Is Lele still down there?
I would say because the inn is still up and not on the fire, no, but I think she is asleep.
There's a pause, and there's just visible worry on Ameko's face. Don't let her touch anything that's not steak.
And Sola kind of blinks and looks towards Easemark as he's heading out the door. I don't think we're eating anything but steak and vegetables. Shay is used to the bullshit. Shay can eat the bullshit.
Shay has better standards than the bullshit.
So we'll usher all the rest of them out. Kokoro can remain as long as Kokoro wants.
Yeah, Kokoro, are you heading down with the party?
Yeah, I think I've said all I need to say to Sister Dearest.
Mm-hmm. So, as you head downstairs, Shalelu is indeed in the kitchen. There's a fire going, of some persuasion. She seems to be rotating some sort of meat. She's put on Ameko's silk apron, for cooking.
Elk? Holy shit.
I heard silk, so...
Silk is, in fact, what I said.
Yeah, that's a fucking crap. Why would you cook in that? That's a fancy apron.
What the fuck? Oh, she's gonna be
girl.
so mad.
Rich.
She fucking stole it. She stole it. That's what she did.
What's she cooking, huh? She's gonna investigate because she fucking knows this crazy ass bitch.
It is, in fact, marinated lamb that she's cooking. She's got just like a chunk of lamb, a single chunk of lamb. It's sizable though, and she's got it on a pan. Which you're very impressed. You weren't sure that she would remember to use a pan when she's not in the wilderness.
No.
But she doesn't seem to have seasoned it all that much. It's just lamb.
Okay,
Unseasoned
well,
lamb
I
is
guess-
better than some of the other options I was concerned about.
Well, Shay is going to grab one more handful of peanuts, close the jar. She'll finish that later. But she is going to join in and make sure that this is going to be enjoyable and not cursed.
As you join in, Shalelu looks at you and goes, "What? I can manage this. It's just steak with more metal involved."
She's just gonna look at Shalelu. She'll look at the lamb. Looks back at Shalelu. Yeah, that's not steak. I think you're making a mistake.
There's a deep sigh from Shalelu, and she just turns back to the cooking. Right. I'm not getting rid of you anytime soon, am I?
Now. She's gonna start washing her hands. And you're like, yeah, now. But she will double check all of the fucking seasonings and all of the oils. She's gonna make sure there is no goblin anything involved in this cooking.
Please.
Shadras, as you look things over here, again, Ameko's very, very clean and extremely particular about labeling items back here. You find an unlabeled jar of something viscous and thick.
She's gonna hold up the jar. Turn to Shalelu. Hey,
Hmm? No, we
what's
don't need to.
this?
Well, it's lard,
It's-
of course.
From what? From
A
who?
creature. It has a very it has a very high smoke point. It's perfect for this.
It's fucking starvels and the rats. We're not using it.
Are you sure? Because it does add a particular
No,
flavor that I
no,
find very.
No,
I just think that if they gave you
No.
to try,
no.
but you liked it that one time.
It tricked me. You know, I was just saying that to try and be nice. That was a mistake.
Shalelu just frowns. It's a small frown, a very innocent frown. Did you lie to me, Shadras? About my cooking?
She's fucking putting the jar away. She's closing it. And she kind of looks a little. It's like, sorta?
You lied to me first, bitch. You lied. What it was.
She'll just look at Shalelu and just kind of take the end of her braid, kind of wrap it around her finger a little bit, kind of twisting it into a little spiral. It's like, so the cooking was good, but that points to the jar. Not so much.
There's a crestfallen look on Shalelu's face, and her ears droop. Oh, I see.
Shit. Like, she doesn't know how to fix this. She looks very lost. Of like, sorry? Look, we're gonna.
My own protege.
Oh no.
Shalelu flips the hunk of lamb over. It's all right. You can return to your compatriots. I'm sure that they need to
No,
talk
they
to
don't.
you about something or the other.
No.
You can tell them that they're safe from my tyranny.
Oh my god.
My goodness.
Shay looks equal parts just like guilt, but also frustrated, but also embarrassed.
Perhaps that
Mm.
little dog will like it.
She just pinches like the bridge of her fucking nose as she like steps, and she fucking, I guess, grab like a spare apron that's like a normal apron, and she'll tie that on. And she's like, "No, we're gonna work together. We're gonna cook something that's not goblin seasoned. Yep. Look, just keep turning it. I'll do the thing. Just do it."
Shalelu will let out a sigh and just look at the lamb, then look off into the middle distance. This would be so much easier if I just dug a hole and we roasted it with a spit, wouldn't it? But we are forced to work with these conditions.
A kitchen?
All of these modernities are just distracting you, Sheadraz.
Shay just keep turning it. Don't burn it.
Shalelu lets out another forlorn sigh, turns the lamb, and as this is going on, what is the rest of the party up to?
Jesus fucking Christ, Shalelu.
The most dramatic bitch on the planet right now, and that's saying something when we have the fucking actress Fox.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't see the correlation.
I mean, honestly, we're not doing anything nearly as entertaining, so you could just keep it on them. I want to see this.
Oh, God, no.
Well, not let him cook.
No. Let him
Kokoro will steal one of Amiko's instruments and play for the squad.
All right, which one are you stealing?
Her
She's got-
shamisen.
Yeah. You can steal the downstairs shamisen.
Yeah.
Kazoon type.
She will sing in Minkayan as she does.
I imagine that Sola, upon initially coming downstairs, made her way into the kitchen and stole a couple of pots for tea and some cups and stuff, and has very kind of like specifically tailored a couple of different mixes to brew for everybody, including sending one upstairs for Ameko of like something to help her kind of rest and relax through the night. Cause she's gonna feel like she's in pain right now. She's gonna feel it even worse in the morning. Just like settle at a table in the middle of the inn because there's nobody else around.
Yeah? There's nobody else around, so you have the biggest table in the Rusty Dragon all to yourselves.
Ismark, at some point, Ismark would want to swipe a drink of some kind, so he has something to like sip on and like swirl in his hand and just kind of do his
You're getting
absent-minded
tea as well.
thinking gestures. Anything that he can have in a cup that he can just swirl.
Ismark, these labels are all in Minkayan, so how are you going to proceed?
In any true fashion of somebody who can't read the symbols, he's going to point at one and go, eeny, meeny, miny, and just grab one.
All right. Roll me 1d6.
1d6?
Mm-hmm.
a 6.
Oh boy. Ismark, you pick up a dark, murky bottle. And as you do, for a second, you think you see something at the bottom of it. But that can't be right. Can it? Can it?
Can he like hold it closer and clearly see it, or like shake the bottle until he can get it to one side so he can look at it? What is it?
Sure, you shake the bottle so you can get it to one side, and a snake's head stares back at you from inside it.
You know, Ismark is kind of adventurous, but he's not that adventurous. He's gonna take that one and set it down and grab whatever one is number 5 on a d6. Which is the next nearest bottle that is not a snake head in a jar.
You have found the Everclear, good sir.
Perfect. Not knowing it is Everclear, he is going to pour 3 fingers of it into a cup.
Oh, Christ.
God.
He's not gonna kick it back. It's a sipping drink. And then he's gonna sip it and be like, oh boy, I overcommitted. And just hold on to it for the rest of the day.
He's gonna take it into tomorrow.
Yeah, Everclear is my favorite sipping drink. Because I can nurse that for the day.
Oh my god.
All right.
He'll pour himself a cup of that and then like sniff it and be like, whew. And just like, all right, well. And then Solo will have forcefully given him a tea, which you'll be like, thank you for looking out for me. Here in the dungeon. Ginny is appreciative of it, for sure.
Sola is like still busy tending to the various cups of tea, various like kettles of tea in front of her as he sits down and is saying this, and you just see the telltale like thinning of the lips.
What? I'm being genuine.
And she like slowly looks up at him. Do you recall the thing that I told everybody not to do when we dealt with the demon at the end?
There was a lot you would tell not to go near the fountain.
But what was the very first thing you did when we opened the door?
I mean, okay, I know, but I gotta investigate it. That's kind of comes with territory. And he holds up he like kind of pulls on the edge of his coat, like that is the symbol of authority.
I'm not concerned with
Of
you
his
investigating
career.
it. I understand you'll need to poke your nose into things. You jumped across the fountain.
He opens his mouth to protest and then doesn't.
Hellebore, you definitely saw him do it.
If so,
It was pretty cool.
Hellebore, so Hellebore is not gonna be able to hide that. He does have like half a rat in his mouth, though.
Is it half a rat?
Rabbit.
Okay.
Damn, what are you trying to say?
I only heard one syllable, and so I was very confused.
It's half rabbit, half rat.
Hey, to
Rat
be
pit.
fair, for a man his age, that was pretty cool.
What do you mean my age? He says not like to you, more to himself.
I didn't.
Okay.
You do realize
Okay,
that is something that I cannot express the dangers that come with those fountains. Hellebore, you were trapped in there for about 200-300 years.
It was much longer than that.
Yeah, thereabouts.
I'll level with you. It's not, not my most wise decision. But I'm not gonna make a habit out of it. You're not gonna tell Ginny, are you? He like half jokingly is like, haha, right? Right? Right?
Sola, her eyes narrow just slightly. The only reason that I will not tell Ginny is that I do not want to have to treat her for a heart attack.
Ismark gulps. Okay. Yeah,
Understand you wanting to poke your nose into things. I understand you wanting to protect your home and your family. But you are a smart man, Ismark. At least be smart about how you do it.
he nods. Like he's not relenting for the sake of like feeling sorry for himself. He's relenting because he's like, yeah, it was super, super risky and dumb to do that. He just nods once out of like self-pity and then again a couple times out of like recognition.
And you can see from like Sola, like when she's like, you are smarter than that. She like means it. She knows he's a smart man. That's his fucking job, is to be semi-intelligent in most cases. But it's the disappointed family member vibe right now.
Does it help his case that he's drinking Everclear?
It's right around now that
Everclear.
he hasn't taken a sip yet, and then he just kind of brings the glass up to his nose and takes a sip, and it is like, whoa. Oh boy. Sniffs it. Right, sorry. Jeez. He's gonna like not sip the glass for a little bit. He took a good enough sip from that one.
Which one of the tieflings was it that like fucking drunk themselves under the table?
That was Mez.
Yeah, that was Mez. Mez, who was a good tiefling and went to bed.
And so we'll just slide a tea towards where Kokoro is, or vaguely in her direction. I don't know if she's at the table or like slightly away.
Yeah. Yeah, she's with them.
And just kind of sit back in her chair for a moment and look towards the kitchen and look towards everyone around the table. I think we are all going to have to be relatively smart considering with what we are about to deal with.
As you look to the kitchen, we'll also look into the kitchen. Shadras, how are you handling this? What skill would you like to roll to try and pilot Shalelu here? Some will be easier than others.
She's trying to like tap into Shalelu's actual cooking skills. It's just as soon as you place her indoors, all of that's out the window for some reason.
It's a lot like dealing with a fae. The second metal gets involved, she's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here.
Can I use a survival?
I will accept survival.
Because, cooking things, and she's not letting Shalelu touch any of the seasonings, because all of the metal involved in that's going to fuck her up.
See,
she's given the job of just turning the lamb. Make sure it does not burn.
The thing with survival is, though, that this is your mentor that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
So it's going to be opposed because she's going to think she
Oh!
knows better than you
Oh,
if you go
fuck.
with survival.
Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Somehow bring religion into the fucking kitchen so that you can beat her out.
The student
Right.
has continued to be the student.
Can I go do am I allowed to try and change my answer? Now that I know?
If you would like, I will allow you to change your answer.
Can
Not
I
every
do-
roll is opposed.
Okay, wait. What's going on here?
The skill determines the approach. If you try to flaunt your survival knowledge, because Shalelu is your mentor, she's going to argue with you about it.
Okay, you know what I think Shay has and she doesn't have as much of?
What?
I feel like a different approach of sense motive, trying to read any possible changes Shalelu wants to make before she makes them.
So you're trying to sense the chaos before it happens and
Yes.
curtail it.
Trying to sense the intrusive thoughts.
Yes. See, but sense motive is just for sensing the intrusive thoughts. So how are you going to dissuade the intrusive thoughts? This would be a two-parter.
Okay. How would I dissuade them?
Peanuts.
Unfortunately, Shalelu is not as obsessed with peanuts as Shay is.
Throw peanuts on the ground so she slips on them.
Genius.
Could I do a... Can I try and just stealth? Change them? As in, like, Shalelu thinks things are looking a bit, I don't know, they could be spiced up with something. Oh, there's something on the counter there that adding it will surely add to the experience. Give me 1 second, turns, it's not there anymore. Guess I can't add it.
Alright. The way that I will roll that is, if you do well enough on your sense motive, you'll get advantage on... We'll just straight up do advantage for this silly little contest, okay?
Holy shit.
Advantage on your stealth roll versus her perception.
Okay.
So go ahead, try to sense the intrusive thoughts.
Fucking please, for the love of God. That's gonna be a nat 20! Holy shit! It was on the next you got me.
She knows this woman's chaos inside and
It's gonna
out.
It's gonna be a 31.
So, Shayadres, you sense a great deal of intrusive thoughts, and now Shalelu has been trying to play this cool. She's been trying so hard, especially now that she knows she's being observed, but there's a certain tension to her that means that she's contemplating doing something less than agreeable in human society. The first intrusive thought you sense is that she is going to just straight up take the skillet out of the equation here and lay the meat directly on the burners. Because she seems to think that would maybe get closer to approximating like a really, like a good fire. This is where her mind is going. That's the first intrusive thought. The other intrusive thought is that she has a backup container of goblin lard. And you can kind of see the swell of it in her pack, in her jacket that she's wearing at present.
Mm-hmm.
And she keeps looking at you, trying to detect a good moment to slip some of it in.
Okay.
And the third intrusive thought...
There's a third.
...is that she does want to add one spice to it, but it's only a spice that she finds very interesting, and which you know to be extremely expensive. Ameko's imported citron peppers.
Well, alright.
Choose your battles.
So, I feel like the play here is, does she have time to move the peppers before she approaches Shalelu?
the peppers would be the easiest thing to move.
Okay. Well, she's going to very quickly move the fucking peppers out of sight. Probably behind a slightly larger box, so they're just out of sight.
Just scooch them behind the larger box.
Yeah. Ameiko's gonna find it later, but fucking not doing that. And she is going to grab a, I guess butter?
Okay.
She's going to grab butter, and she's going to approach Shalelu, get real close to her, and she's going to dump butter into the pan before she can think to take the meat out of the pan. She's going to reach past Shalelu and grab a spoon and say that we're going to be basting this in butter now. So the pan is very important here. We're just showing her to baste the butter, right? And she's going to try and get the backup jar. Get it off her person.
You will have to roll stealth for getting the backup jar.
Yes, I will.
But you have advantage.
Okay, I'll roll both of my dice. For the love of God, please, Shay. I rolled 2 18s.
What's your
Nice.
total?
My total is going to be a 24.
See,
Oh, no.
here's where the master comes in, though.
Ah, fuck.
Because
Try
you see, Shalelu also rolled an 18, but do you know what her final total is?
Is it 25?
It's 30.
Oh, okay. I didn't have a fucking shot, is what I'm seeing.
Her fucking elf eyes. She rolled very high, I'm sorry.
Just accept the lard.
So Shalelu is following along with you, and she doesn't seem to have realized that anything is amiss. As you explain basting, she's like, oh, okay, I understand why the pan might be helpful here. She doesn't seem to have noticed that the citron peppers are down MIA. But the second that you try to go for her pocket, she just turns and just throws out an arm to stop you. That is my secret ingredient, Shay address.
We're not adding it. Now.
Are you sure? Not even just a couple drops. I mean,
Now.
it adds just a touch of gaminess.
No. Absolutely not. Put it away.
There's a sigh from Shalelu. She turns back. You could have just told me that to start. You didn't have to go pilfering through my pockets.
Why are you hiding it?
Oh.
Because I thought you might pilfer through my pockets.
Really? Because I did tell you already. 5 minutes ago.
Sigh. Well, it's just... The basting is so similar to what you would do with just a touch of this. You wouldn't have to use nearly as much of the butter.
Now.
This is a deep sigh. But you have managed to avert goblin fat being added.
Thank fucking Christ.
And you emerge with perfectly pretty decent lamb for the rest of the party. And Sola, when you look to the kitchen, you don't see any hint of the struggle between good and evil that has just occurred. You just see the lamb.
Just like sees them coming out with a plate of something, immediately looks at Shay with this like, are we touching that?
Shay gives a nod. She looks exasperated. I imagine the edges of her hair around her, like framing her face, are a little frayed.
Just, cup of tea for Shay, cup of tea for Shay. And then pauses, reaches over to Easemark's Everclear, puts it in a separate, like pours out just a little bit into a separate like teacup, pushes that towards Shay too.
What does she push towards Shay?
Some tea
Nothing.
first, and then just a little bit of the
Drink
Everclear.
A little bit of the Everclear. She don't fucking take it. Kind of like scrunches her nose a little bit. Looks back at the kitchen. Remembers what just transpired. It's a little bit, right?
Yeah. It's like
Knock it back.
a normal shot amount for Shay.
Yeah, normal shot amounts. She'll look back at the kitchen. Remember what the fuck just happened. Knock it back. Drinks the tea. She grabbed her peanut jar on the way here.
Slides the other, like, 2 fingers worth of Everclear that's still in the cup back towards Eastmark.
Eastmark looks at it and he's a little sad and he's just like, there's still a lot in here. Jeez.
Hellebore, a cup is being passed back and forth on a table and no one is giving you any.
No.
Why not?
Not for dogs.
Why not?
I will point out
He-
Hellebore has also received dog-friendly tea that is currently in front of him.
Eastmark slides the teacup intended for dog closer to dog.
Why do I have to drink this and you get that?
Fine, I'll give you some. And Eastmark is going to pantomime pouring some in. He's using the CC tactic of like, here, I'm giving you some. This is me giving you some. See, look, and he's going to tip it really close until it almost pours out, and then it doesn't pour out. But it doesn't pour out. And then he will set it back down normally, and he's just like, there you go. All yours. Have at it. For a second, I thought that was Matt leaving the call, and I was like,
I also,
True.
that was my first instinct.
Same.
fuck you guys, I want my Everclear.
Let my dog drink vodka.
Hellebore, are you satisfied with this?
Just looks at Eastmark, looks down at the cup, sniffs it. Doesn't smell any different. Doesn't smell like the interesting drink he has. Just dips his head a little, laps at his tea. Soft
Mark will
wine.
pat him on the head. Just give him a soft pat on the head. And then Eastmark will turn to the table at large. Which includes Hellebore. But he will turn to the table at large and say, so, next plan of action here is, we got a lot of stuff to do. Our to-do list is pretty long. I gotta go see a guy, we dealt with, sort of. I don't know where he is, but I'm gonna find him. You know, the guy who hit on you before? Gesturing vaguely to Kokoro and Shay.
Kring.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
guy who
there's
said
a shatter.
something exotic beauties.
Yeah. Hard to forget.
Yeah. To give you a long story short, I know I kind of had a run-in, not with him in specific, but with the family house. Yeah, you know, he's a noble. He comes from Magnamar. Foxglove, right? I had a run-in at Foxglove Manor back when I was, well, you know, back home, before home was here. He points to the ground. But, you know, I digress. But I want to chase this down. There's something here that I'm not seeing. I want to figure it out. And he might be connected to all of it.
What is this run-in that you had?
Eastmark opens his mouth, and you know that the body language and kind of look from Old Man Obi-Wan in the episode 4, right when right when Luke is like, "Hey, you know about the Clone Wars?" and then Obi looks a little fucked up for like 3 seconds. It's that kind of look from Eastmark, where he's just like, it's a long story. Listen, I'm not against sharing it. Okay, I might be against sharing it. I'm gonna. There's a lot. There's a lot, and I want to chase this down before it gets too far away from me. But I don't know. Long story short, there's some weird, sort of like a weird culty thing. It's not guaranteed that he, Foxglove, is involved with this whole thing in that same way. It's not guaranteed that he was the perpetrator of the whole thing that I ran into. But he's a family member of that house. So I gotta. There's something there. It's hard to believe that all that stuff was going on underneath his nose and he just didn't know about it.
Do you think it has anything to do with the Lamarche too?
Runs a hand through his hair. I can't say for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. Thinking back on it, there might be something there. I gotta do a little bit of digging. Part of why I want to pick his brain. He might remember more than me. He might know something I don't. I could probably see if I could send a letter out to the guys in Magnamar if they'll still let me look at the old stuff that we wrote down. But, cards on the table. He gestures as though he threw cards onto the table. It's like, cards on the table. That's what my plan is. I gotta dig that up.
Is it more pressing to you than the impending invasion?
No. Baylor's aware. I'm just gonna let him get a head start on it. I want to interview Foxglove, and then, after I talk to him, see what he knows. I mean, I'll take some notes down and put a pin in them until we deal with the invasion goblin thing. Which, if you ask me, thinking we should head it off at the pass and catch it in the ass. You know what I mean? He makes like a hand, like punching his palm gesture. Sorry, that's like a thing that's a thing me and my old buddies used to say.
Sola slowly looks at Kokoro first and then turns towards Shay. Amy,
Hello?
did you hear?
No, I haven't heard anything for like a solid 10-20 seconds. I think my headphones cut.
Okay. Ismark was talking about, we need to cut off the invasion, before it happens, essentially.
Mhm.
And Sola, looked at Kokoro, and then looked at Shay, and is staring at Shay now.
Shay, peanut jar is now at 70%. She looks back at Sola. Just a look of just what on her face. She doesn't say it, but just on her face of what? What is it?
Well, we know who is going to be at the head of this invasion.
Shay looks at Sola. Shay looks at Shalelu. She looks back at Sola.
Shalelu looks around, having just been enjoying her lamb prior to this moment. Should I not be here? You know what? I'm going to take some of this up to Amako.
You should be here to discuss this invasion. You are the resident goblin expert, no?
Oh, most certainly, despite whatever Shay Address might tell you.
Only issue is, Shalelu does know about the sister.
Yes.
Because we did show Shalelu and Amako the notes from
Mhm.
Suto.
Yes.
So, resident goblin expert gestures towards Lilo, and then resident adopted sister.
That's all you got for me?
What?
Oh, when you said adopted sister, like I couldn't help but think of Kokoro for that. I was like,
No.
that's all you
No,
got
you're
for
the
me?
stepsister. Your
Yeah,
sister-in-law,
okay.
sister-in-law.
Yeah, okay.
And Shay puts down the peanut jar again. Take a sip of the tea. It's like, Sal! She'll just gestures. Are all of us gone?
And I think the first question is less who's going and more of the are you prepared to deal with your sister? Who is
Ow!
not quite your sister anymore.
Who is what? I couldn't hear the end of that.
Not quite your
Over
sister
the
anymore.
snoring?
Jesus.
Which
Give me a
sailor
second.
is that? Pray tell.
That is the human sailor.
I
Give me a
see, I
second.
see.
I'm going to shift. Okay, he has been shifted.
See, you said give me, like, Jesus Christ, give me a second. And I was like, oh no, this is where we get the murder. This is where we get to just like, okay, we're gonna put the pillow over the head and just leave it there to muffle the sound.
She snapped. She snapped, officer. We were all there.
Guys, I would never do that to my husband.
She
Anyway.
had too many
Officer.
peanuts. She couldn't control herself.
Sorry, I got so fucking distracted. Prayers with you with her sister, right? That was the last thing.
With your sister who is may not quite be your sister anymore.
Imagine that Shay just sips at the tea. And she kind of thinks for a second. And she nods once. And she follows up that nod with another nod as she shrugs. Says, probably. Don't got a choice. So, I'm going.
And you are not going to attack any of us if we have to fight her.
Shay looks offended. Like, her eyes, like, narrow, and it's just, like, it almost looks like actual, like, hurt and, like, offense of, like, what the fuck? She looks kind of pissed off a little bit, but mostly hurt. And she says, no, never. I never. Not a problem.
So it just gives a single dot. Like, she's completely unfazed. Unfortunately. Fucking live a long life. See lots of trauma. Just nod. Well, that is your sister, and you are prepared to deal with her if the need comes. I don't imagine there's any stopping you. And looks towards Kokoro. And I'm assuming they have pissed you off enough that you are going to go with it.
Well, I wouldn't miss a chance to meet this person for the world.
If I may. Shillelagh looks around the table.
I imagine all eyes are on her now.
Ismark will clear his throat and be like, I I mean, you may. Go for it, shoot.
As soon as he says you may go for it, shoot, Shalelu continues on. I don't know exactly what's transpired with Nualia, but I can say that, well, she was never an unreasonable sort. Whatever's going on, there must surely be some way that we can speak with her about it. I can't imagine what must have driven her to this. I know she was having some boy trouble before the fire, but nothing to this extent.
You mean besides Suni, boy trouble?
Yes, there was another lad. I don't remember his name, unfortunately. But she was quite head over heels for him.
She kinda just
It wasn't
furrows her-
Aldern, was it?
Oh, sorry. Good.
Eastmark says it wasn't Aldern, was it? And Shalelu blinks. Aldern? Is that some sort of foreign name?
Don't worry about it. Just if you don't recognize it, it wasn't him. Don't worry about
He's hard to forget.
it. He just nods really slowly with that kind of like, mm-hmm.
Amy, what was it that Shay was saying?
Oh, she's just furrowing her eyebrows, trying to, like, remember. Because that sounds a little familiar.
Can go ahead and roll me, let's say, a wisdom check. Straight wisdom.
Straight wisdom.
Or gay wisdom. It's okay, Shay.
Going to roll a 13 plus 4, 17.
So, Shay, you don't know very much about this situation either, because, well, your sister didn't tell you very much about it. As she was growing up, and shortly before the fire, she was becoming more and more secretive. You had the feeling that she was seeing somebody, but that's not exactly something that you would talk to your very young sister at length with about, especially when things seem to be going a little hard. From what you remember, she was seeing a human boy, and she had to sneak out to see him. And once or twice she asked you to cover for her when your father was asking where she was. And that's something that you sort of put together yourself, because occasionally she would tell you to say, well, if Dad asks where I am, tell him I'm over at Amako's. And you'd see her later that night talking to somebody in the distance. But she didn't tell you very much about him, and, well, things got pretty tense not long after that. Your father seemed to clamp down on her significantly. They were arguing a lot.
And she just kind of nods. She's kind of gestures towards Shalelu, and like an agreeing gestures, like, yeah. Don't know anything either. Don't remember.
Regardless, I'm sure that she can be reasoned with, even if she is cavorting with the scum of the earth. And I must say, I'm quite eager to get a chance at some of those little buggers.
I'm always happy to try and talk with somebody before we reach bloodshed, but I'm concerned. Suto's writing said something about her changing. And it sounded fiendish in nature, at best.
It also sounded rather addle-brained if he... She pauses. Oh, sorry, Kokoro.
It's fine. Just, I have family too.
It's just quiet awkwardness from Shalelu as she shifts her weight from one side to the other, then starts tapping her nails against the table slightly. Right, well, I just meant to say that he seemed rather distracted, and we don't know how much of what he's been told is true. However, it does seem as if he's dealing with some sort of curse.
Yeah, there was some sort of magic control on him, but even if he is, I'm not thinking quite clearly because of that. There is likely still some sort of truth at the center of it. I merely think that we must be prepared for any circumstance, whether it be talking or whether it be something more drastic if needed.
Well, the good news is that Thistletop is somewhat isolated. If we are to bring the fight to them, so to speak, they won't have very many other places to go.
Is it some place that you would think is good for a small band, or do we need to gather a group from the city guard to go with us?
Well, that depends entirely on how many goblins you think you can take on at once. So far as I know, there are at least 24 of the little bastards holed up in there. But with the current hubbub and clans working together, it's quite possible there'll be more, or perhaps less if they've cannibalized each other already. They do that sometimes.
Well, kind of shift her gaze back towards Easemark, because Easemark's the plan man.
Mark kind of strokes his chin. I mean, goblins on their own, they ain't too much to deal with, especially not when we got used to here. And he points to Shay and Shalelu, simultaneously. So if we try to organize some kind of strike on the goblins preemptively, we can count on your help. And he looks at Shay. Or not Shay, he looks at Shalelu. God, fucking names.
Didn't you hear? Shay just is named after Shalelu. It's part of her ranger training. Then Shalelu will consider for a moment. Well, it doesn't take very much impetus for me to crush as many goblins as physically possible. Of course, I'd be interested in joining. And I can get you there fairly quickly. Within 2 hours, perhaps less if we drive the horses a little hard, but I do so hate to be difficult to those beasts.
He kind of stretches his chin again, and he's staring like into the middle distance, like just kind of staring at nowhere in particular on the table. And he'll lean back and take a sip from his cup of clear, and like look at that and grimace, like he forgot that he had it, and he's like, ugh, and set it down again. And then he'll lean forward and say, "Okay, let me talk to Foxglove, and after that, I'll talk to Baylor. I think we should move before they come in and strike. So when we can count on you," he points to Shalelu. It's like, we could maybe make pretty quick work of this. If we're careful, if we're quiet, they might not know us, they might not know what hit them, you know? I've done a couple of things like this before. Like a sting, you know?
So it kind of
Shalelu. No, go on.
Solo just kind of tilts her head and we'll look at Kokoro. I think it might be best if we bring at least one or two that are able and willing from the guard. Kokoro is a heavy hitter in her own right, but I don't think either her nor I are particularly good. I think one of those things gets a little too close.
You need convincing people I'm your girl.
Shalelu will think for a moment. Don't you people need to sleep?
Yes, we do need to sleep before we do any of this. But it is best to know how fast we need to get moving in the morning.
Ow!
Well,
Morning! I need a... She, like, closes the peanut jar. Need a chat with Xantus.
some sort of blessing before you set out?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, there's the question of if you want to attack them by day or by night.
Mark strokes his chin. I can't see it in the dark, but the rest of yous can, so that might change things. Maybe we do arrange something at dark. After we rest. He looks at Sola, like, right?
Sola nods.
Good. Yeah, after we rest, maybe the following evening, after we spend the day gearing up, we can make something happen. A day early could catch them off their, catch them while they're sleeping. Hey, goblins aren't nocturnal, right? That's not a thing.
They are not nocturnal. They do actually sleep at night.
He kind of does this, like, not claps his hands, but does the thing where you, like, slap the edge of your palm in triumph, and he's just like, bam!
However, they can also see in the dark, so quietness and silence will be of paramount importance.
That's, bless it. It's everyone but me.
Yes.
Yeah.
He looks around.
Ooh.
He looks at Hellebore. Can you see in the dark?
I'm so sorry.
Takes a sip of Everclear. All right. That's
It's because
it.
of those fleshy, delicate eyes you've got.
Yeah, don't. I mean, your eyes aren't.
They are
they?
nice eyes.
Are they like shelled? I don't want to know. I mean, they look fleshy and delicate to me. I assumed they were all the same.
Oh, all the same.
Yeah, like your eyes and my eyes are the same.
Just
No, we're not doing that.
yes. No, I will try to see if there is something I can dig up. Are you are busy talking to that man? That
Yeah,
might be
I'm
able
gonna talk to
help.
Foxglove.
There's
Hey,
gotta
if
be
anyone else
a
wants to
fucking
listen
dark
in-
vision potion or spell or some shit somewhere.
Oh, there is. For sure. It's just a matter of Ismark is just gonna, his pride will hurt. But that's the plan. At least that's how I sees it so far. Interview Foxglove, and I don't know. The rest of yous have whatever you need to do on the table. I got to interview Foxglove, get what I can out of him, review some notes, and obviously spend time with Ginny, and then give it a rest for a day, and then we can leave tomorrow evening.
We should probably be leaving around 5 or 6 o'clock, depending. Shangers, could you also see to it that they have proper climbing gear?
Kira.
Shay will nod and give a thumbs up. She's opened back up the peanut jar.
Look,
Kira.
there are. If you do not, there are climbing rules, okay?
Yeah. Shay's paying attention.
Jay skipped that class.
She's just like, nod, give a thumbs up, add it onto her list, talk to Xantis, get climbing gear for everybody. She'll wait. Sorry, good.
Shalelu looks around the crowd. It is about a 30-foot climb up a fairly sheer sandstone cliff at one point before we can approach Thistletop properly. I would also advise, if you have anything to keep your skin safe from brambles, it'd be best to don it.
Yeah, so I have a question. Is there like a non-climbing way? Like, is there like a nice dirt path I can take? Maybe.
Well, there's a sea cavern, of course, if you'd like to venture there, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Why not?
They keep a creature there to
A
feed.
creature?
Yes, they feed their prisoners to it.
Ismark kind of does like one of those yeesh faces.
It looks something like a gigantic hermit crab, as a matter of fact. It's quite a fearsome creature. They call it a bunyip.
I do not think
A
that we have anything
bunion?
to actually deal with that.
That was my thinking as well. And the thing does tend to make quite a bit of noise, which does echo throughout the caverns beneath Thistletop. I worry it would set off the alarms.
You just hear a groan.
Oh,
And then she
Kylie.
remembers she can just turn into a fox and just like hop on somebody's shoulder, and then she's okay now.
Yeah, she was about to like make a little list, a little head count. She's gonna point to Kokoro. It's like, does she need? Yeah? Or now?
If you can get like a little fox harness, like to like attach to somebody's chest, I'll just hitch a ride.
She'll blink. And then she'll just on the little list. Fox? Harness? Question mark?
Question marks.
Will dog do? Question mark?
Climbing up a cliff and then dealing with brambles on our way to the top.
Yeah, technically they're thistles. You see, it's thistle top, so at the top there's thistles.
That would normally be the case, except that Thistletop itself is the name for the statuesque island that's off the coast. We're just talking about the best approach to Thistletop.
Oh. Yeah, brambles.
Is there anything that you would suggest that I prepare for everybody? Considering we are dealing with mostly goblins, but some of their less appealing kin as well.
Shalelu thinks for a moment. Well, wherever there's goblins, there's bound to be goblin dogs. Vile creatures that they are. I
Yes,
would
already have
recommend...
some of that for the rash after the last attack.
Shillelagh holds up a finger. Right, should have known you'd be prepared for that. Well, there's goblins, and there's other goblins. Well, we might be dealing with one of the war chanters. And if that's the case, the grand chanters are actually somewhat troublesome in nature. We will want to keep an eye out for those little buggers. You'll want to kill them first whenever possible. They tend to rile up the others, you understand.
Do they have any type of poisons or anything?
Some of them can, but it's mostly disease-focused, less poisonous, as a matter of fact. They also tend to let things go rusty, so do mind that.
Just like Sola nodding, like kind of like leaning back in her chair, looks around the table. None of you can be mad when I give you some very nasty tasting things before we leave. Well, if we are set to go deal with this tomorrow evening, and several of us have things to do beforehand, it sounds like we should all be heading to our respective places of rest. Try and sleep as much as we can.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Yeah. Jay will stretch. Peanut jar is empty.
That was it was at 50.
50% of peanuts.
It was. And
Did she
then
just
more
start
talking
chugging
happened.
at some point?
She did that thing that you do when with a nearly empty bag of chips, where you just kind of tip it back and eat the rest.
During that talk, it very quickly went down. But yeah, Shay gets up. She starts grabbing her bags. She steps towards the door, then she remembers, oh, she's not going back to the cabin.
But it's convenient that you step to the door, Shay addressed, because as you do, you hear somebody on the other side of it.
Who the fuck?
Cody, would you like to tell us where you are,
Oh.
how you have reacted to seeing this sign on the door that tells you the Rusty Dragon is closed, even though you definitely heard that the Rusty Dragon is where you needed to look, and you've come all this way at such great price?
Oh, merde, what am I going to do now?
Does Shay hear this?
Shay does hear this.
Who the fuck? At times 2? She's gonna go fucking investigate. And I imagine she walks with the same demeanor that fucking Shillelagh had when she walked up to the door hearing people. I was like, what the fuck do you mean, people? She's gonna fucking... Is there, a peephole, or...
Yeah, there's the people.
Peek it.
In fact, you know what you got? You got one of those numbers that you can slide with the handle.
Oh, perfect. She's gonna fucking slide that shit open.
What does bitch look like, Cody?
So out the peephole, you might see a friendly face. She is very lacking in clothes, but she does have a satin corset with a skirt that is far too short, stockings, high heels, a powdered wig. Definitely looks out of place.
Hold on. It is daytime and you are wearing a satin corset with a way too short skirt.
It's nighttime.
Oh, it's nighttime. Okay, I was
nighttime.
like, I thought it was like.
It has been a very long day.
They are ready
Okay.
to party.
She does
He's-
have a
he's not put down the
sheer,
other player.
like shawl on.
Okay. Does the Shay recognize this person?
I don't know. How good is her memory?
Oh,
Yeah. Shay, I'll allow you to make me a survival check for scenting here.
Okay. Oh yeah, scent. Gotta remember.
Oh,
Okay.
I never forget. It's a plague upon my planning.
That's gonna be a 18.
All right, 18. 18 is enough that certainly does smell familiar to you. It's weird, though, because the scent that you're scenting doesn't quite add up with the person in front of you. There seems to be a little bit something different. It does remind you of one of your childhood friends.
She narrows her eyes. She like slides it open. She's like, "What?"
Okay, Kira, would Augustiana recognize Shadris?
Oh, Shadris has not changed in the slightest.
Shay just,
okay,
just
that's what I
gotten
figured.
bigger, taller. Her hair has just gotten longer.
It's just, you know how in Photoshop you can click the corner and you can drag the layer out and make it bigger? And that's what happened here. That's what happened here.
Covered in more like peanut husks, though.
Yes, there's some peanut husk about as well.
Oh no, she has a severe peanut allergy. No.
Roll me a con save.
She would, I imagine she had kind of like turned, but she would whip around at this, and her eyes would widen. Oh, my dear Shadris! And she'll run over and do like air kisses on both cheeks.
Huh.
Sola just like leaning back in her chair watching this.
Okay. So I imagine that like Shay peeked out the little thing. I guess she opened the door because she wasn't looking at the door. So Shay just opened it. She's confusion from Shay. She's like, she's been recognized. Sounds familiar. Who the? Wait a second. She's gonna fucking put hands on shoulders, push back. Eyes are like narrowed as she's like taking in all the information at once. It's like, you think now she gets it, Kira?
Now she gets it. Now she understands
gets
what is transpired. Emphasis on perhaps transpired.
Fucking looks and then recognition as just like shock and surprise. It's like, August? What the?
It is Augustiana now.
What? Just, what are you? It's fucking cold. What the fuck are you?
Oh, it's not that cold. I'm looking for Mesmine. Have you seen her?
Yeah, she's home, I think. Yeah, no, she's home. She's sleeping.
Well, we need to go wake her up.
Why?
And she'll kind of look over her shoulder, to make sure that she's not being followed. Perhaps it would be better if we speak somewhere more private.
Look over. She's also gonna do a little look. It's like, okay, what the fuck's going on? Are there more goblins? The fuck's going on? She's gonna usher her inside, though. She's like, I don't got time to play games with who may or may not be involved in this. We can get ushered inside.
Would
Get
everybody
ushered,
like to?
fool.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. It's
It's always the little ones.
No, it's just that Matt's last name is Usher.
That's what Matt has to say whenever Matt gets married to anyone.
They've never said that before.
I
Have they
didn't
ever
want you
gotten
guys to
married
find
before?
out this way, but I am hip hop sensation Usher.
Holy shit! Yo!
I could tell by your voice.
I knew it.
I don't want to out you.
I'm sorry.
You may also know me from Fall of the House of Usher. I was the house that fell.
I thought you looked familiar in your profile pic.
Would everyone like to describe their characters for Augustine?
Let's go.
Let's gotta be Shay first, because Shay was
Oh,
the first one
okay.
she saw.
Yeah, she was the first one. Yes.
Oh shit. Sorry. I forgot. Shay has grown to be pretty tall. She is about 5'10", and she has built up a lot of like muscle and like dexterity. She's like not built, but she's very obviously like in shape. And she imagines she took her cloak off, so she's just in her regular armor and ranger gear. You see, it's fitted with a bunch of little shiny silver jewelry that adorns her horns and her tip of her tail that's probably swishing back and forth as she looks over Augustiana now. Her hair has just gotten longer, and it's in this like really long braid that ends around her knees. And she probably had a bag that she was holding that she dropped right next to the door. That's also fitted out with more ranger gear, much more function over fashion, but well taken care of. And she just looks with a look of just like confusion, surprise, not bad surprise, as she gestures towards where everyone else is seated / standing.
All right, going down the list, Joe, you're at the top. What does Ismark look like?
Ismark is a 6 foot even, white, like kind of average build guy with shortish brown hair and blue eyes, like kind of like an ocean cerulean blue, not like an icy white blue. He has a kind of square jaw and a little bit of scruff. Like the face claim that I'm using that is the most, honestly, the most accurate is a lot like Castile from the fucking Supernatural show. He's like a little bit of a slimmer in the face looking Castile.
Castiel.
Thank you.
Castiel.
Thank you, Z.
Slimmer in the face looking Castiel. With more setting appropriate clothing, though he has a long coat, a couple of like leather belts around his, like he has a leather belt and leather pouches where he has like alchemical gear. He has what looks to be like a very weird rapier. It's a rapier point with like a guard, kind of like a jeet or a jite. I don't know how to say it.
Jite.
Yeah, it has a jite like guard to it almost, and he keeps that strapped to his back. And he, like, other than that, he looks pretty unassuming, all things considered.
Okay, next up is Matt. What does Halvor look like?
Just a wonderful, fluffy Samoyed. Sitting at a table, drinking tea out of a cup.
Like a person.
Yep.
Slight eye twitch.
Kokoro.
Pepper,
Kokoro!
you is muted.
We'll go on down to
Kokoro
Kokoro.
is a very beautiful fox girl with long white hair and
And new to her appearance, she has 3. She had 1, but now she has 3 flowing white tails. And I believe she has blue eyes, and her scheme is white and gold.
Okay. Z, that makes you last. What's Sola look like? You also have to describe her animals.
Sola is kind of, I imagine she was sitting a little closer to the door, so she is kind of like half turned looking. And she is a kind of average height, average build woman with very pale blue skin that kind of varies in shade across her body with kind of sea green blue hair. And you see the very pale golden irises in her eyes, though in certain lights they don't always seem to be there. And she is, I think I have it. Where is it? Yes, this. Very brightly and colorfully dressed by comparison. I'm gonna stick this in the general because that's the first channel I see of a bright red outfit with golden jewels and bangles here and there, and a kind of bag that seems to be very, very worn, a very soft leather, sat at the table beside her, full of her gear. You can see a couple of plants and such sticking out of it. And aside from the red of her outfit and kind of the red shawl that's wrapped around her shoulders and over the top of her head, you see that her hair is largely tied in a golden scarf as well. So you only see little tufts and swirls of hair poking out from underneath. And at her feet, I imagine, is Holly, who is just kind of laying there on the ground. It's a relatively well-sized capybara that's just very calmly eating some plants that she has put on a plate on the floor for Holly, and just staring at you with like a long like stick of something green sticking out of her mouth, chewing. And on the table in front of Sola, hopping to where he can see, is a little yellow and black bird, like beady black, kind of obsidian eyes and a black beak that just is tilting his head almost completely upside down, staring.
At the table is also Shalelu, who you recognize because she looks the fucking same.
Elves.
Shalelu, however, is just narrowing eyes, and you can see visible math happening behind those eyes, but she doesn't say anything. That's the crowd you walk into, Augustiana.
And Amy, you said you gestured to everyone?
Yeah, as in like, get inside. Here's everyone, by the way. Gesture.
Ow! Hello.
You knew it. She was going to-
Hello.
Sorry.
My name is Augustiana Devereaux. It is a pleasure to meet you all.
Ismark just blinks. Hey, pleasure. You're a friend of Jay's here?
She'll nod and give a little curtsy.
Shay will also nod.
Huh.
It has been a long, long time.
He seems a little surprised by the curtsy, like, oh, she's nice.
And what exactly brings you to this tavern after such a long time in the dead of night?
The sign does
She-
say closed.
She'll turn and look at Shea almost like for approval.
Yeah, she'll go ahead, gesture.
I need to speak with Mesmine.
Okay, go talk to Mesmine. She's not here.
Go, good.
What do you need to talk to Mesmine about? If you don't mind me asking,
What?
I'm not like her keeper or whatever.
If she wants to talk to Mesmine, she should go talk to Mesmine. I don't like. I'm not trying to be rude. Just like she's not here.
Nora!
Ig-
Gestures.
Agatiana will kind of ignore this and just turn to Shadris. I've come from Alkenstadt, the sheriff there. He's heard reports of gunfire here in Sandpoint, and I just knew it had to be Mesmine. But she doesn't have a license, and I'm worried that he will send deputies.
Kokoro kind of leans in. Does she need a license for something she created?
Kokoro. Well, actually, no. Kokoro, no. Everybody else, roll me a knowledge local.
Hey.
Because Kokoro's the one prompting the question.
I got no clue.
I got a 14.
14 total?
Yep.
I got me a 22.
Yeah, that checks out for you, Mark.
That's a 24.
Still showing off, okay.
Sheesh.
Hellebore, knowledge 20. Alright. Anybody who rolled a 20 or above is aware that this is actually a legit thing. Alkenstar tends to manufacture a great deal of the siege weaponry used in the Inner Sea region in particular, although Tianxia obviously has their own manufacturers and different processes for going about it. But because Alkenstar controls a lot of that trade, they're not always super happy about people developing, say, firearms elsewhere. So it is entirely possible that this is true and that, well, somebody is coming to take a look. Now, as to whether the license is necessary, well, that depends on how you would like to define necessary. She could just continue dealing with them for the rest of her life, but eventually they'll start sending more and more deputies, and that might get a little bit more difficult. She could also just stop manufacturing weapons. They would also accept that. A license can be bought for a not insignificant fee, or perhaps she could work out some sort of working arrangement with them. But this is very much akin to the mouse hearing that you are misusing the mouse.
Sola just tilts her head slightly and just kind of lifts a hand and does like the kind of like side to side, like, yeah, so gesture in response to Kokoro's question.
Seriously? You need? She built it.
That's part of the problem.
So
Uh-oh. Oh, man.
came back to town after a long time. Looks towards Shay and then back towards her. Just to warn Mesmine that there might be a sheriff coming for her.
Is this like a small claims thing, like a legal dispute? I mean, I've been hired to look into stuff like this before. It's kind of weird being on the opposite outside of it now.
Mesmine is one of my dearest friends, even after all these years. I would hate to see any bad happen to her.
Bad happened to her.
I'm pretty sure if something bad tried to happen to Mesmine, she'd just shoot it.
Augustiana will like stifle a laugh.
You get like the expression from Sola that's kind of like, you know, where you get like the pause and then like the not wrong kind of like little head jerk.
Now, Augustiana, you would know that part of the issue here is that the deputies will also come armed with more advanced weaponry that they can draw faster.
I worry they will bring weapons that even Mesmin is ill-equipped to deal with.
Even then, she wouldn't want to fight.
Yes, but if
Yeah,
they
that's-
make her, then she will have no choice.
I don't suppose this is a thing we could convince them to have a nice civil conversation about, is it?
I mean, yes. I don't believe they will come with great hostility.
I'm sensing a butt somewhere in there.
But it's one of those things where they come and you do what they say.
There it is.
Or else.
So
Yeah.
why shouldn't she just shoot these people?
Because
Well,
what
this
if
is
they
a- Yeah, this is a classic case of if you shoot them, then you're making the whole group mad, and then the whole group comes after you.
Augustiana nods.
It is like kicking a beehive.
Yeah, but they're gonna force her to like sign some like agreements that'll just screw her over, right?
It depends on the agreement.
Oh, the fee? The license? How much is that?
It's a smooth $5,000.
Whew.
Huh.
Oh.
And when are these people due?
I don't. Go ahead.
sorry to cut in. They're definitely due within the week. You don't know exactly how long it will take them, as you took other means to get here. So you'll beat them here by a few days, you hope. But within the week, you're pretty sure.
She will relay that.
Lovely. Great. Fucking great.
That is something to put a pin in.
I've got some ideas. I'll look into some possibilities.
Sola just like pauses, looks at Kokoro, tilts her head. That is not going to kick the beehive.
No, it shouldn't.
And single nod. Goes back to looking to Augustiana.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That is it. It is nice of you to come on your friend. Especially from all the way, what was the city called?
Alkenstar.
Al-
It's quite some distance away.
That's like the fucking middle continent, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
What the fuck?
Whole other continent. She is like,
Mm-hmm.
it is very kind of you to come from Alkenstar to warn your friend about this. And she kind of tilts her head, kind of questioning towards Shay. That is a very dedicated friend, in fact.
Shay will nod. And I give a little pat on shoulder to Augustiana.
Thank you. I would do this for any of my friends.
Oh, I recognize you now.
You do?
Deadpan
Yes.
face.
I do.
Well, Ismark does a hand over hand, like, go on, elaborate. What do you know her from?
You were one of Mesmin's little friends at the orphanage, weren't you? You and Shay dressing her.
At the mention of the orphanage, her face does like show just a like passing moment of embarrassment, but then she'll immediately resume her like cheerful disposition and be like, "Yes, that was me."
She'll like gesture towards like Shalelu, and Augustiana kind of gesturing towards her. It's like, yeah, look, Oxbacka.
Giggles.
Shalelu looks her up and down. Well, I'm afraid to say you've come at a rather complicated time. You see, we're about to launch a siege tomorrow.
A siege?
Yes.
Well, sage is kind of like more of a dramatic term, I think. Like it's like it's not wrong, I guess, right? It's like technically correct, but it sounds more intense than it is. It's more of like a sting operation, you know?
A siege is just as dramatic as the alternative. You came into town right when the goblins are about to invade.
Yeah, it's convenient that you got here when you did, and not a couple days after or a couple days in the middle.
And the first one.
And Mesmine will be joining you?
Presumably. At the very least, she's definitely not going to be staying anywhere out in the open at Sand Point without one of us watching, probably. Now, and what you told us about these, not so reputable friends coming to pay her visit.
And if Shay is joining us, I don't think anybody could manage to keep Miss from joining us.
Then perhaps I shall join you as well.
Forgive me, but are you capable of handling a fight like that?
He's
If you had a combat trait, what would you consider yourself?
he says out loud, but like under his breath. This is one of those inner thoughts that he doesn't realize he says, but he says under his breath, like, is that an armored corset or?
Girl has her talents, and she'll wink.
Pulling out his collar.
You sure? It's gonna be dangerous.
I traveled many continents to get here. I think I can handle it.
Can you climb?
Do I have a climbing speed?
Do you have any
Your
ranks in
skills.
climb?
Join the club in
Yes.
the no ranks.
I got one.
Wait, I have a 1. Yes. A single
Shalelu,
rank.
Shalelu tilts her head as you confirm you can climb. Well, I suppose it'll be simple then. You don't even need to buy an extra set of climbing gear, Shadras. Although, you might want to wear something darker. There's going to be a lot of goblin blood about tomorrow. We'll be swimming in it. And I think that is where I will cut today's session. This is almost 10:30.
Whoop.
If everybody's all right with that.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that. Cody, I am dying. Please tell me you have some kind of character art of this person.